Hi, this is Ken Gidge, and this is, I forgot what used to be Gidge World, but now it's the Art of Politics. And I have something to say, you know, David, but I have a statement to say before we get to the show because I think it's pretty, well, I'm all upset. And David may speak about it if he wishes to, but he may not.
Kenneth, please tell us, what do you have to say?
All right. Last night, we had what is called the Executive Council meeting, or I should say the full meeting for Hillsborough County up in Goffstown, New Hampshire. And I'm on, as David is, on the Executive Committee. And I wanted to put $20,000 back into a fund for Meals on Wheels. I was shot down. Lady came up and wanted to put $9,000, which would have only brought it back to last year's amount of money. And there were a lot of people who stood up and talked for it, and I believe there were Republicans who wanted it but didn't dare to. In fact, they did raise their hands in behalf of it. But when you get to a point when you think you're balancing the budget on people who are shut-ins, who are disabled individuals, they get one meal a day. And if you think balancing the budget by taking $9,000 out of Meals on Wheels, you're crazy. And if you think balancing the budget by taking $9,000 out of Meals on Wheels, and I am running for Ward 6 Alderman, don't vote for me. Don't vote for me because I wish people who are hungry, who cannot care for themselves, people who need a lifeline, I will take the $9,000 from the reserve. And by the way, we have a $9 million reserve, so we weren't taking any money from you, the taxpayers. We already had the money. So vote for me if you wish stuff like money being put back into the budget. Can't be done this year. I must get reelected, and I can see David over here going nuts about it. But I was so mad last night, and I wouldn't stop. In fact, I probably went too far. I even got criticized by Democrats because they're not on the committee. They don't know what we have gone through. They don't realize that last night, no matter what anyone would have said, they weren't going to put any money in. So I had to be extremely extreme, and I'm very upset. I mean, very upset. $9,000 taken away from last year's budget for Meals on Wheels. People who need food, people who only see maybe one person a day, which is the person who delivers the meals. And by the way, when they deliver the meals, they don't leave it. They knock on the door and they make sure someone takes it, and they check on people. These people, most of them are volunteers, paying their own way, paying their own gas, and in turn finding people many times or sometimes on the floor who can't get to the door or who have a problem. If it wasn't for the people on Meals on Wheels, probably there would be a lot more people who are dying. Now, I think I have heard the Republicans say if the Obama administration has its way and brings in medical care for everyone, there will be committees set up and they will decide who will live and who will die. And I say to you out there, it's the Republicans here in Hillsborough County who, guess what, took $9,000 away from people who really need it, And it wouldn't surprise me that some of these people do die. So, that's extreme, and I would, if David wants to talk about it, we're going to get into an argument. If he doesn't, wants to move on, that's his business. So that's it. That's my absolute complaint.
All right. Well, Ken, thank you. Let's see. We took 4 minutes to get to that point. And no, I'd like to make a comment.
So 4 minutes. So
I'd like to make a comment, but I gave you plenty of time to talk about this. Here are a couple of facts. One of them is we were told at one point last night that the $55,000 that the county is providing to fund Meals on Wheels this year, which is less than the $63,000 or $64,000 from last year. That is correct. It's gone down slightly. That the $55,000 was going to fund 1,600 or 1,700 meals on average, people who receive these meals. However, we found out later that The money that the county contributes was for a program that was going to fund between 200 and 350 people per day.
Okay, now wait.
Let me finish.
Hold on a second.
No, let me finish.
You're going to go through 5 things. Now, you take one at a time and we'll talk about it.
No,
but don't move on to 5 different things. Don't move on to 5 different things
Ken,
related to this.
Yeah, it is. This is all related because that's why I voted against.
You voted, shame on you.
I voted against this for several reasons. One of them is there are 3 allegedly highly paid people in Meals on Wheels. One of them, we were told by a director of Meals on Wheels, makes a salary of $80,000 or more per year. Most of the budget for Meals on Wheels comes from other sources. And in addition, we were told by several people that this cut would not mean a reduction in the number of meals served to people.
That's Republican propaganda.
We were told this.
Told by who? Republicans?
No, Democrats.
Yes, Republicans.
No, a Democrat.
And the only reason why the $50,000, by the way, you're not telling them that the $55,000 was taken out. You're not telling them it was the Democrats who got them to put the $55,000 back.
But it's there. It's there, and it was done. It was actually done by the commissioners.
And by the way, and I'll give you time to talk. I mean, I'm very upset about this. But let's make something very clear. It's 500 people that the $55,000, or it would have been 63, the 9,000, would have helped. Now, that's 500 people during the year. It's 350 daily. Now, what you say is, well, we're not really helping 1,700 people. That's wrong. We are helping 1,700 people because our $63,000 goes into a pot and then they divide it amongst the 1,700 people. And when people turn around and say, oh, $55,000 is only taking care of 200 people, that's bull.
Okay. The money is restricted to a specific subsection of Meals on Wheels recipients. It cannot be used for other recipients.
Where was the other recipient?
Now, hang on for a second. Meals on Wheels serves a whole different population. They serve several different populations. This is only a program that for a certain population. I think you are closer to being correct on this, and I will stand corrected, that this does work. This is used for an average daily population of between 200 and 350 total number of people.
It's
now, wait a second.
350
to
500.
Wait a second. Calm your jets. This is used for an average population of 200 to 350, but there are more than 350 people in total that are served because not everybody is served every day. So I will certainly agree with that aspect of it.
Shame on those people who voted against that. Shame on you.
Let me ask you a question. The budget is $85 million.
Oh, wait, whoa.
Go ahead.
Whoa. Hold on a second. Wait. I love you guys. You have said somebody makes 80 grand. You ought to see what they do. This is a production line for 1,700 people. 365 days a year. Most of the people are absolutely spend their own money, drive their own cars. I mean, this is a program that pays for itself 100 times. Yet, somebody will stand up and start talking. Well, a person makes all this money. And guess what? We want to keep the budget at this level. All forgetting to mention that there are people who are not being fed, who are either homebound or disabled or can't get out at all. Okay. You're forgetting that.
No, I'm not forgetting it at all. So, $85 million budget. We're talking about $9,000, small percentage. Did you vote for the budget?
No.
Would you have voted for it if the $9 million was added in?
No, I wouldn't vote for the. Okay, did you vote for the budget? We're going to change the subject, and I think we ought to change the subject simply because it's quite detailed. You voted for the budget.
I did.
Okay, why did you vote for the budget?
Because I thought it was the best budget we were going to get given the number of people there. given how the voting was coming out.
So is the budget balanced?
The budget always has to be balanced. It's balanced by keeping the property tax, the amount raised from property taxes exactly the same as it was last year and the year before.
And the year before that?
Well, no, it's been
2009.
This is the third year that it's been this.
2009.
This is the third year it's been this rate. This year coming up. It has been. We take money from what's called a surplus fund that has been built up that is now being rapidly depleted, and we have made.
How much is in the surplus fund?
Right now, I think with this budget, it's going to be projected to be $9 million or 8.7.
$9 million. So $9,000 would have been the interest for what? 3 months?
Oh, I don't know. It's a small percentage, guaranteed.
So a person who can't get out or get food, what's the value of that?
All right. The value of it, of having a balanced budget, of trying to provide.
Oh, I see.
Trying to provide the best for the taxpayers of Hillsborough County.
Balancing the budget on who?
We're not balancing the budget on anybody's back. We're giving $55,000 to Meals on Wheels.
The budget on people who cannot afford to pay for food, cannot get out. That's not balancing the budget.
So what should we do, Ken? Why don't we just double the 55?
No.
Why don't we just double it? Wouldn't that be great?
I love you guys.
Wouldn't that be great?
Again, you know what you're forgetting?
What?
You're forgetting about the 300 to 500 people a day, okay, that we help. By you keep saying, and other people keep saying, well, if we take 10,000 here and we take 10,000 there, that's a lot of money. We're not talking a lot of money. We're talking 9,000 people to help keep people alive.
$9,000 to help
$9,000, and that's not extra. That's just last year's budget. There's no extra in this year's budget. Last year you cut it by 10. Shame on you guys. We better move on to another subject.
I think we're going to agree to disagree or disagree to disagree, one or the other.
Whatever. Now, the budget, you think it's balanced?
What has to be.
Well,
yeah, it is.
Okay, well, let's talk about the balanced budget.
So we're talking about the Hillsborough County budget, which is $85 million, give or take.
Right, and it's balanced.
Yep.
Really? How many people have already said that they're going to have to come in and ask for more money because they know that they cannot run from the nursing home to from the jail that we have to the sheriff's department? How many?
There have been no formal requests of the executive committee.
Oh, excuse me. So every time there is $1 in an account, that means that account is open. How many accounts have $1 in it? 10?
I don't know. Probably more than that.
All right, let's say 20. So what this means is that they have the ability to come back. In other words, that's there, that may not be filled, but they have the ability to come back. When people say the budget is balanced, at that very moment, that is correct and that's not a lie. But to say the budget is balanced for the whole year is a damn lie. No. If people have to come in and take money out of it.
They don't have to come in. The reason that line items are funded at $1 is if you zero a line item, you are effectively, for example, eliminating the program or eliminating the position. So by putting $1 in there, you actually keep the position and the potential to, let me finish, and the potential to fill a position, or you don't have to reinstate the program if there are funds available next year.
Okay, so you have to fill a position.
What's going on, Ken, is this happens all the time. Departments come in and say, we are overspending in this area, but we are underspending in this area. We want to take a transfer of X amount of dollars and put it in. It does not increase the department budget.
I love
what it does is it balances out and it gives department heads the ability to manage their funds and to manage their departments.
You guys have to stop this. First of all, when there's $1 in the fund, people can come back and come to us and say, hey, we need the money, and 99% of the times we will give it.
No, I've never had a transfer in the 2 years that I've been into that I can think of.
How about the sheriff's department?
I've never had a transfer that I can recall into a $1
How about
item.
the sheriff's department?
I don't think so. I don't think I voted on it.
Excuse me, it was $1 put in, and they have somebody at the academy coming in. And in fact, it was Kirk, 75 or 80,000. That's not a balanced budget now, is it?
Ken, get your facts straight.
Oh, God.
Get your facts straight.
Get my facts straight.
The sheriff made a mistake when he submitted his budget.
No.
No, let me finish, Ken.
No.
The sheriff made a mistake when he submitted his budget. And he came in and he was straightforward about it. He said, look, I should have put this position in as an encumbered position because we made an offer to this guy. He is starting the academy, or he will be starting the academy. And we talked about it and we said, okay, we are going to fund this position because the guy has already been hired.
Selective memory is good, David. The fact of the matter is that he came in and asked and said, there are two positions. You've zeroed them out. I want one position back because the person is in the academy. Do you know what happened? He didn't make the mistake. The county, you guys, the Republicans, zeroed it out. He had to come back and remind you that he turned around and said that this person's in the academy.
He said there was an error. He said he made a mistake.
No. He's being really nice and not saying to you guys screwed up.
All I can do is take him at his word. He said there was an error.
You don't remember this?
I remember what I remember.
You remember?
I mean,
I think this will break the log, Jim. You were going to remember what you're going to remember.
I'm going to remember what I remember.
All I can say is that thank God that there will be more Republicans coming in. And one other thing, I think everybody's going to love this one. What is this UNH extension plan? What is that exactly?
Why don't you start it out?
Well, I mean, you know, is it 4-H and things like that? And do you know how many square, we'll call it square miles we have for farming here in the state of New Hampshire?
I don't.
Do you know how many, you don't?
No.
Okay, well, I think it's $360,000 that we give to the UNH extension, which does 4-H, which does research for farmers, etc. All of a sudden, the Republicans said, well, why don't we just eliminate that?
The Republicans did.
Yes. Remember?
And most of the Republicans voted to keep it, as I recall, on the committee.
No.
Yeah.
No, first of all, it was a Republican who wanted to get rid of it.
That's true.
So 8 Republicans voted for it.
You're right, it was 8 and 8.
8 Republicans voted against it.
So it was
split
evenly.
Who were the 2 votes that made it 10-8?
It was you and I think Patrick. Was Patrick there or was it? No, Barbara Shaw.
No.
Was it was Barbara Shaw. You and Barbara Shaw.
So there were 2 Democrats.
Right.
2 Democrats who kept that.
Even if you hadn't been there, the motion would have failed and it wouldn't have changed it.
Oh, I see.
But, you know,
what a waste of time.
You're conveniently forgetting that 8 Republicans on the executive committee voted with you. 8 Republicans voted with you and the other Democrat.
Glass half full, half empty. Guess what? Why in the world would it be brought up by Republicans? And there were 8 who voted to get rid of it, and you say 8 that voted to keep it.
To keep it.
The majority of you guys didn't even want to keep it.
8 Republicans voted yes, 8 Republicans voted no. Which side is the majority?
Democrats.
8 and 8 is an even number. So where's the majority in that? Let's see. 8 and 8. And according to Robert's Rules of Order, a motion fails on a tie. So whether you or Barbara were there or not, it would have failed.
I love this. Well, let's make something really straight, okay? 8 Republicans voted against it. 8 Republicans voted to keep it. And it was the 2 Democrats that broke it and passed it where we would not be taking the money out.
Nope. It would have, even if you hadn't been there, it would have failed. So we would still same. It was the same.
If I wasn't there to make as much noise as I made,
well, you did make noise.
Is the same as the Democrats, because my comment simply was before the vote. I said, "Oh, 90% of you wanted to vote for this because you're the guys who are all talking about it. I will bet you, I said to them, that this won't pass. Why? Because this organization, between UNH and the farming and what takes place here in the state of New Hampshire, is very important. And guess what? I believe if we were not there, there would have been enough Republicans who would have cut that. And the only reason why it didn't happen, it was because of the two Democrats. Now, don't say that it was the two, if it was tied, it wouldn't have made it and stuff. It should have never come up in the first place.
Well, I disagree with you. In fact, I voted to do away with the extension. I voted to take the $325,000 or $350,000 and use it for other services, including retaining guards, retaining corrections officers at the jail.
No. I love, please, Dave, stop saying you guys have got away with this. And it's like Kirk, and this is at our meetings at the Hillsborough County as executive committee. And this guy up there, if he doesn't get his way, he says, I will vote for this. I will vote more for this. Excuse me, I'm proposing it, but I won't vote for it. But I want to also raise taxes in this amendment. So everybody goes, oh, so wait a minute. We don't want to raise taxes. Not even the Democrats want to raise taxes. So this guy is like a little kid, gets his own way. Because if you vote properly, okay, like helping, with the $9,000, all right, that's fine. But you have to also vote that you raise taxes. Who wants to do that? Nobody.
We're going to have to raise taxes next year.
Well, you don't have to raise taxes.
Okay. Let me ask you one question now. We're talking about the budget. You said even if we put the $9,000 in, you wouldn't have voted for the budget. Is that correct? You wouldn't have voted for the whole budget. Let's say we put the $9,000 for the Meals on Wheels program back in. Would you have voted for the budget? You said you voted against it. In other words, what would it have taken for you to vote?
I'm not thinking would I have. The answer to that would be because of the way it went last night, etc. Of course, I would have voted for it.
So, in other words, $9,000 was the difference between voting for it and not voting for it.
I would say keeping people alive has more of a value than even what I consider a great deal of wrong. I will keep people alive. I will let them have a lifeline. I will let them have one meal a day, 365 days a year. Yes, I probably would have gone against that.
So in other words,
okay,
let's
stop
see,
with the mathematics. Let's move on.
So
let's move on to another subject.
For 1/100th of 1% difference, that changed your vote. Okay, that's fine.
Okay, what is? All right. Let's ask you a question then, if you want to play that game. What's your child worth?
What's my child worth?
What's your mother and father worth?
Well,
is it worth 101%? Would you let your mother or your father not have a meal per day because you felt that you wanted to save the $9,000, even though we had a surplus of $9 million?
Ken,
you wouldn't have signed it?
Nobody's going to miss a meal.
No. Oh, yes. There's a waiting line, if I remember
no, there
correctly.
No, actually, they said there was no.
That's absolutely bull.
They said there was absolutely no waiting list.
No, answer the question.
There is no waiting list.
You asked the question with me, would I have done it?
Yep.
Would I have voted for the budget if that money, that $9,000 was there? And I said yes, and you said, oh, let me figure this out. So 1/100th of this with 9,000. Geez, you don't have, your morals aren't very good because you would have voted only for $9,000 towards. So my question to you is this. Would you have voted for it if it was your mother or your father and you could not afford to care for them and it was $9,000 and you know that they needed a meal 365 days a year? Would you have voted for it?
Actually, I would have had to recuse myself.
You wouldn't have voted?
I couldn't have. It would have been a conflict of interest.
Your parents is a conflict of interest?
If my parents were receiving money from Hillsborough County Meals on Wheels, I could not have voted on that part of the budget.
Not even for the $9,000?
It would have been a conflict of interest. It would have been a direct conflict of interest.
David, you're getting a lot better. I must admit, but every time
I catch you... That's what my wife says.
Every time I catch you...
I hope she's telling me the truth.
So you would have said, oh, I can't vote for that. because my parents are receiving it, and I won't vote for the 9,000.
Well,
so I will recuse myself.
It would have been telling me it would have been an ethics violation.
Ethics?
Yeah, legislative ethics.
Here we go. Wait a minute. This is the Republican way of, let's call it ethics. I love it. Let us not have people get Meals on Wheels, 1 meal a day, because it's ethically not proper.
So I want this down on the public record, that here my friend, and I do consider Ken a friend, although misguided much of the time, my friend is suggesting that I should commit an unethical act and be possibly sanctioned by the Legislative Ethics Committee.
Oh, let me see. And let me explain. Here is an individual who would not have been sanctioned, by the way. We figured that out already. He would not have been sanctioned, but wouldn't do it. He would get up and walk out, even if it was his parents, who needed the meals. He wouldn't even do it. I don't think so, David.
Well,
no, I don't think so. And putting it in that way,
there's well, I just the last word. They weren't really as good to me as they could, so I guess that probably tempered my response. Moving right on.
I like, and you want to know something?
What?
That's.
Don't say anything nice.
No, I'm not going to say anything nice, but knowing you and a little bit of your history, I think that's a good answer.
Okay.
Okay. Now,
well, I have something for you.
You got somebody who got. Didn't one of us get caught drinking, and wasn't there a bail fight? And Richard, the engineer, has showed me a newspaper. You didn't see it?
Oh, you mean one of our colleagues?
Yes.
Oh, well,
let's make it Republican.
In a nutshell, Representative Tony Soltani from Epsom is a current House member. He's also an attorney. Very interesting guy, very smart guy. Tony, I think we talked about this a little bit. A couple of months ago, Tony was involved in a police chase where he was chasing somebody, and the police were chasing both him and somebody else. And he was taken into custody. And Tony's acting as his own attorney. And he was recently, I think he was recently not arraigned, but he had a bail hearing. And he said, I should be able to keep and use the guns in my house, and I should not have any alcohol restrictions. And the last thing in the newspaper article was Tony saying, well, you're saying, Your Honor, that I can't use my guns without supervision. What would happen if my children were being threatened by a bear?
Yes,
and the judge answered, well, they could shoot the bear, but you couldn't.
Okay. The interesting part of this is, and I'm glad you said it, and that is that Tony was also being chased, okay, as he supposedly was chasing somebody that the cops were chasing. Mm-hmm. But we forget that the cops were chasing him also. Mm-hmm. So whatever he did, I'm not sure, and I'm not sure you know exactly. But
no,
he can't have guns, he can't have liquor, and does he still have his license?
I have no idea. And actually, all I'm doing is I'm talking from I'm being very irresponsible because I'm speaking just from what was in the newspaper.
Oh, you're not being irresponsible. And let me just say something. Both Republicans and Democrats have people who have gone off the reservation.
Oh, yeah.
We're not really happy with both Republicans and Democrats.
Well, that includes us. I don't think our respective parties are very happy with us.
We even go off the reservation a little. But there's 400 of us.
Yep.
And we get paid $100 a year.
That's before taxes.
Before taxes.
That's before
taxes. I'm
glad
you brought that up before taxes.
Yep.
And we have 55 cents a mile?
55 and a half,
and
something
does
like
that pay gas?
Oh, yeah.
It pays the gas.
Yeah, I figure gas is probably about a quarter of that. Gas is maybe 12, 15 cents a mile for my car.
12 or 50? Who are you talking about? Are you 12 or 15 cents a mile?
For gas.
And
I get 25 miles to the gallon, and I figure a gallon of gas is, what, $3.50?
Okay, and you go 75 miles round trip?
Yeah, 75, 80 miles round trip.
So how do you figure 15 cents? You got to get your arithmetic right.
Well, no,
right.
I'm saying the gas portion of, in other words, I get reimbursed 55 cents a mile, as do you. And I think the gas, I think I spend about a quarter of that on gas.
I think between the gas and possibly oil changes and maybe 3 tires at the end of the year. Would you agree on that?
Well, let's just say nobody's getting rich over the mileage reimbursement.
And how many tickets do you have, parking tickets?
Oh, God, I think I've had, let's see, at $10 a ticket, I've had 25 or 26.
Right, tickets.
Parking tickets, yeah.
And I don't mind doing the job, and I'm not complaining about it, but it would be really nice if we who get paid all this money could at least have parking.
Well, we do have parking. We've talked about that.
Parking.
We have a dedicated parking lot, stores lot. It's about 3 blocks from the State House, for the Capitol. The fact is, I'm a lazy SOB, and I want what I want when I want it, and I park at parking meters, and I overpark, and it's my fault.
Shame on you, and you got the tickets. But David, when there's a full house, the parking garage is full.
Well, Ken, you need to get there
before
go half an hour after the session starts. You got to get there a few minutes early. And as far as the parking tickets are concerned, actually, I think the City of Concord makes out better, because the City of Concord has gotten more money out of me on parking tickets than they would have out of me putting money in the meters. So I think I'm doing my part. I am doing my part to fund the City of Concord, and I think I'm doing a public service.
Let me see. Not
really?
Paying
a public
parking
service
tickets.
Well, no, but I'm
doing something honest.
I'm paying parking tickets.
Let me see.
So
you're funding Concord.
Right.
And you're saying, well, if you want to take it, you say you make 15 cents a mile.
That's for gas.
Right, for gas.
Yeah.
But if you take all your parking tickets and you take the 50 cents, 55 cents a mile, now how much is it costing you?
Well, it's costing me a lot more. And you raise a good point. I think I ought to be able to take a tax deduction for this. Because I, if I give money to the municipality, if I donate money to the municipality, which I'm essentially doing, I should be able to get a tax deduction.
Are we called employees of the state of New Hampshire?
That's a really good question.
Is this your first term?
Yes.
It's my second term. And I still haven't gotten this done. Are we considered employees? The answer is no. You want to know why?
Why is that?
Because if we slip and fall as an employee, we could collect workman's compensation. So by having us as basically part-time help, in a sense that's the way it works, the state is not responsible for us. How's that?
Well, and if that's the case, I think under the common control test for employer-employee relationships, we should be considered independent contractors, and we should get the whole amount of the $100 and then have to pay our own taxes on it. I'll bring that up with the governor the next time I talk with him.
Well, we did. That's okay. It's complicated, but
right.
Anyway, we're both running again.
Yes.
You have some, I'm sure you've got a few things you want to talk about?
I do, and this is perhaps the most important thing, and we may have mentioned this a little bit before, but this is a newspaper report. The residents in Middleborough, Massachusetts, and this is coming to a town near you. Residents in Middleborough, Massachusetts, last week, Middleborough,
yes,
last week voted to approve a proposal from the police chief to impose a $20 fine on public profanity. And I just think that is public profanity. You got to pop the P's.
The P's.
Pop the P's. Public profanity.
And the Supreme Court?
The Supreme Court.
Yes.
Well, actually,
they said regarding
they haven't gotten to this yet.
Oh, wait a minute. What came up on television recently?
Well, that's
nudity.
That's the FCC. It's a different thing.
Well, it had to go, it had to go through the state's, country, our Supreme Court.
No, this is a local ordinance.
I know, okay.
And
isn't there a local ordinance?
No, they have it now if the Attorney General determines the new bylaw is constitutional. So it's a pending local ordinance, and the Attorney General down there. So if you say mother
F
in public,
ing, yes,
then you run the risk of being fined $20 if you say it in public.
Okay.
Next item.
That's it?
That's it.
Oh, hold on. I've gone, as you know, occasionally I will stand up and make a speech before the full house.
Not very often, though, but
I do.
occasionally.
And I always try to come up with something funny to start it off with.
And you usually do.
I usually do.
You're very good at this.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
But I have found something, and this is honest to God, factual, and I don't have all the numbers and you know, the bill and the dot 496. I don't have all of that. But I have, and this is true, it was passed in 1969, that it is illegal for you and me to converse with an extraterrestrial or enter their vessel or vehicle, it says.
No.
Yes. So we can't talk to an extraterrestrial. It's against the law. It's a federal law.
It's a federal law?
A federal law.
Do we get granted immunity when we're on the House floor? I thought we get granted immunity for
because
there really are a whole bunch of extraterrestrials in our chamber.
Absolutely. But did you? So I will be saying that next time.
That is great. I'm going to be interested to hear how you work this into a bill on a woman's right to choose, for example, or
there are no bills because guess what? There are no bills. Is there bills on?
Well, there is a veto override coming up next week, and it's not it has something to do with abortion. I've got to go back and read the veto message.
How do you Republicans? I don't think you guys, and I mean guys, get it. That you may not agree what the woman does with her body, okay, but it's her body. And I don't agree on some things, all right, but if it's a choice between a woman having her choice or politicians like you and me, mostly old guys, saying, gee, you can't do this, gee, I will choose for the woman to have the choice.
Ditto.
Ditto?
Ditto.
You too?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
So
why didn't you tell me? If you would have told me, I wouldn't have made that speech.
Well, I wanted you to make a fool of yourself in public. So,
that's right.
Okay.
Well,
all right.
There we go. All right.
Did you know? Oh, you're going to love this.
This
is going to be. You know, you're the kind of guy who believes that we should restrict gun owners' rights. Is that correct?
No, David.
Well, okay. Tell me your position.
Have you brought this up,
tell me your position.
I have voted for the right to own weapons. I have not voted for people to not have a permit for them. I think people should, and to carry a gun around concealed without a permit is pretty dumb.
All right. So, but you favor the ability of people to.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, in that case.
Well, okay. Well, tell me what you.
Okay.
All right. That's that.
That's that. Hey, you know, we're moving right along here. We've only got about 20 minutes. Did you know that across the country, elected officials are being forced to slash the jobs of essential workers like teachers, firefighters, police officers, sanitation workers, and more, in order to pay the rapidly increasing costs of pensions and health benefits for retired government employees?
That is bull. That is bull. And you know, I hate when people like yourself make comments like that, and you take it out on the firemen, you take it out on the teachers, and you take it out on the police, without considering that this is the second worst time in the history of this country. After Pearl Harbor and after, you know, the Great Depression, it was really bad. And it's hard to believe this is the second worst time in our history financially, and you always turn around and you use some excuse. Do you believe that they're cutting this to pay pensions? Gee, Dave, they got to cut something, don't you think so? But why haven't the Republicans, because we can do this, why don't the Republicans let the bill go through in the House and then in the Senate of our United States, Senate and House? Why don't they let the bill go through whereby we as the federal government can give communities monies to put the teachers, the police, and the firemen back to work. They do pay taxes. They do contribute to the societies. They do some good, let's say, putting out fires, teaching, and protecting us.
Let me get this straight.
And by the way, that money is there.
So what I'm hearing you say is, all right, let's say I increase my my taxes by $100, and I send them to Washington. Washington goes through their bureaucratic mumbo jumbo, and they take 25% off the top, and they send $75 back to New Hampshire to pay teachers. Now, my taxes have gone up by a significantly greater amount than comes back from Washington. Somehow, that just does not compute for me.
Oh, wait a minute, and there we go again, the Republican spin. If I send in 100 and they're going to send me $75 back, gee, excuse me, if you send in 100, it's okay to get almost 100 back.
But that doesn't happen that way.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Thanks to the Republicans.
Well, let's see. Who's running the government? Oh, wait a minute. Let's see.
Yeah, who's?
Oh, a Democratic Senate and a Democratic president. Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I see. So it's not the Republicans that are stopping this? Yeah, they are. And when I hear that we're going to do everything we can to get rid of Obama and not do the work for the people that is absolutely necessary, I don't think so, David. And I hate Republicans who put the spin on it and say, well, this is the reason why you don't want to raise taxes. It has nothing to do with it. What everything has to do right now is, calling us big spenders, the Democrats, the big spenders. That's bull, simply because we're in a worst economy in the history, the second worst economy in the history of this country. And guess what? everyone is hurting. But for you people here in New Hampshire, to stop the rail coming from Massachusetts into New Hampshire and $3.5 million, you're going to send it back?
I voted to keep that.
Yeah, well, you're from Nashville. You better vote to keep it.
I would have voted, well, I can't say I would have voted to keep it if I came from Laconia, because I don't know, but I absolutely voted to keep it.
Boy,
in fact,
what are we going to do with that $3.5 million?
In fact, that was shot down in the Governor's Council 3-2, and it was shot down. And since the Governor's Council is all Republicans, the Republicans shot it down.
Excuse me. No, actually, I think the swing vote on this was a guy named Sununu, the Governor's Council.
No.
Who came up? Oh, yeah.
Was it Sununu or I thought it was our guy from our district.
Which one?
Nashua.
Wheeler?
Yeah, I thought it was Wheeler.
Yes, Wheeler was one of them, yes.
Who voted no?
Who voted no for it. So did Sununu.
Yeah.
Who voted. That's great. This guy is our executive counselor, and he votes no for it. But what are they going to do with the $3.5 million?
I have no idea.
Send it back.
Yeah. So
instead of using it.
What's your point?
Well, the point is, if you keep it, you can put people literally on, feet on the ground from checking, can they put more rail on this? Engineers to find out what it would take. Maybe looking at properties here in the Nashua area to set up a station. The people in Manchester, guess what? There's an airport in Manchester.
I agree.
Right? Rail could go next to it. And I got news for you. Next to every airport, there are shuttles going to every airline, in every hotel, if that's what you want.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay.
So we
agree on that.
We agree on some things, but we don't.
But it's giving the money back.
We don't. Yeah, and the fact that the money was already appropriated, the money was there. That's primarily why I voted for it. I mean, it was there. So it's already.
Anybody who voted for that against that in the city of Nashville should be run out on a.
All right.
On a rail.
So this is done.
Did you like that rail?
On a rail.
Yeah, on a rail. Okay.
Next one. Confidence in public schools has dropped to the lowest point in nearly 40 years.
Oh, yes.
According to a new Gallup poll, American opinion has turned against a variety of social institutions such as religion, banks, television, and television news. Only 29% of Americans this past year said they had a great deal or quite a lot of confidence in the country's public schools. 40 years ago, 39 years ago, in 1973, that figure was 58%. So it's been cut in half.
Okay, can I see this first?
Sure, go right ahead.
Good. Okay, now let's talk about this for a moment. Public schools. Or did you want to get that? Is there more info?
No,
I'll get it
no,
for you. Well,
no,
okay.
sorry.
You're going to throw it anyway.
You had a good time doing that,
Yes,
didn't you?
I enjoyed. I've enjoyed.
I can
doing
see
that.
this little
Public
gleam in your
schools.
eye.
And by the way, it is the Republican Party that is trying to, what they call vulture. I call them vultures. Okay?
Vultures? Vouchers.
Vultures, which means that you may take money from the state or city, and you may take it to go to a private school. The money that you pay taxes, so you should have that money to go to a private school, forgetting that it's the public schools that educates everyone. And by the way, I wonder why the people don't feel comfortable with the schools. How many times do you hear them putting teachers down? How many times do you hear them putting the administrations down? How many times do you hear them putting down the unions for the teachers' unions and the things that are taking place here in New Hampshire? And isn't it really easy to pick on teachers, administrators, and also the unions that help the teachers and the administrators? Oh, that's easy. Of course it's down. It's a Republican, in my opinion, a Republican conspiracy. I'm probably stepping over the line on that one, but a Republican conspiracy. So let's get rid of the private schools by giving, and I call them vultures, to other people to go to private schools. So our schools right now, as you see them, will have to spend more money, which is taxpayers' money, by the way. And everybody forgets once you take something from the public schools and you go over here and you got to make it up, that's taxpayers' money, and that happens to be more taxes. And when you guys, meaning the Republicans, go, oh, no, this is a good idea, this will help, it's going to cost everyone money.
No.
Oh, you got another subject?
No, not yet. I've got some more on this. As I understand the bill, what happens is that companies, not individuals, companies.
Are you talking about the bill, or are you talking
the
about
vouchers? The vouchers.
Okay,
you were talking about there was a bill that the governor vetoed.
Okay.
I thought that's what you were talking about. As I understand it, companies can give money to a funding organization and get a tax credit for most of the money they give. The funding organization can then give out scholarships of up to $2,000 for people at the, I think it's 300% of the poverty level and below, to get up to $2,000 or $2,500 to then go and use those at a school. They have to be awarded by the funding committee. What happens, because the city or locality then loses adequacy payments from the state,
Right.
but they also lose the pupil, which means that they don't have to fund the pupil. And
yeah.
for example, in Nashua, it costs about $12,000 to educate someone.
No, hold on a second.
I mean, that's the numbers,
when
Ken.
you say educate,
That's the numbers.
okay, let's get this about, I know, but let's talk about education. Don't you think the building that that student goes through is part of the education? Don't you think that the janitors who care for the building on electricity and things like water, don't you think that that's part of when they say education? So when you say you take one student out, you're taking one student away, but you're taking away probably half of that money that keeps buildings running, and not counting the teachers, of course, keep them there.
So that what happens with this is a test project, a pilot. See if this works over the next 2 or 3 years. And it's going to, let's see, something like 1/5 or 1/10 of 1%. I think this is capped at $2 million, something like that. And actually, the cities and towns are going to end up better fiscally. Because the state is going to reimburse most of this money.
Well, I think we're going to probably have to end this. I know this has probably been a quick hour or so. I think Richard probably wants to end it, but
No, we've got a few more minutes to blather.
okay. I'm just trying to get out of this.
Well,
without
no,
getting
what I
mad
was
at it.
thinking is, I was recalling what you said about it being illegal to talk with extraterrestrials, and I kind of,
That's a good way to end it. I like
I
this.
kind of think about on that score. I think about extraterrestrials as aliens, and you've got kind of
Well, here we go.
wavy flyaway
Aliens.
hair. You do look a little alien sometimes, and I just wonder how much I should be talking with you.
Last night, what I went through at that meeting.
Your hair was on fire last night.
I'll tell you, it was awful. I'm telling you, but you cannot believe the people, especially Republicans, that would sort of go like this. I know I couldn't vote for you because it's the Republican Party, and I'd get beat up. And the people who were Democrats coming up to me and saying, "Good try," but we knew that it was a lost leader.
Well, I think one of your supporters, certainly in a backhanded, if not a forehanded way, was Representative Lynn Ober, who's a committee chair up in the State House, Republican, and she got up and when there was an attempt to put money into another fund, and she got up and she said, "For God's sakes, here we want to put $150,000 into something else, and we can't even put $9,000 into Meals on Wheels." And she said, "I'm ashamed."
I'm ashamed of.
I think. Well, I heard I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed of this group.
I'm ashamed of myself. I'm ashamed of this, and she walked out.
She walked out. So I would say that was pretty good support for you in that sense.
Okay, so people have to know that Dave and I don't necessarily socialize, but we sort of understand and get along. And by the way, it started out in Gidge world, and now it's the art of politics, how he steps right in and takes it away.
And we're looking at another name change in the next couple of weeks, something involving the words David and Robbins, and but we'll talk about that later.
David Robbins, what's this?
Oh, Richard and I have been talking. Richard's our producer. Richard and I have been talking about renaming the show David's Roundtable or something like that.
Are you going to have another show?
No, this show. I'll have you on as a guest.
Excuse me. Like hell. All right, we're going to end this up. So give your name and your address and your email address, anything you want to do.
Well, this is, I'm Dave Robbins, and this is only for the non-extraterrestrials in the group. If you're an extraterrestrial, you want to talk to Ken. David Robbins, my email address is davidsrobbins@comcast.net. Telephone number is 978-500-9475, and that comes in right here. And I'd love to talk with you. Give me a call. And Ken, how about your
All
contact?
right, first of all, we both want to thank Richard.
Oh, Richard, yes,
He's
absolutely.
the guy with the lights, etc. My name is Ken Gidge. I'm also running for Ward 6 Alderman, as you're running for Ward.
Well, you're not running for Alderman. You're running for House of Representatives.
Well, I may be running for Alderman if I
That's
don't
true.
make it.
I'm running in Ward 9, and I would love to have a vote.
Okay, my email address is kgidge, that's K-G-I-D-G-E, @AOL.com. Also, I'm on Facebook, so if you wish, come and befriend me. I also have GidgeWorld.com, which is an art. Well, it's an art.
It's the art of Gidge.
The art of Gidge, all right. So you can go to that. And also we'll be starting something on political, which will be Gidge something or other politics, because it's complicated. But my telephone number, 603-864-9332. 603-864-9332. David?
Ken?
Yep.
Next time.
See ya.
Take care.